Marriage is two imperfect people entering into a committed relationship, diligently pursuing intimacy under the loving rule of God. See, the first thing you need to understand about marriage is that it is made up of two imperfect people, right? This is the one thing that every marriage has in common: two imperfect people. Since the history of humanity, every marriage has begun with two people who are imperfect. We don't always go into marriage thinking that. In the dating phase, you hear things like, oh, he's so perfect, or she's wonderful and amazing, and I've never met anyone like them before. And then a couple weeks into their marriage, you're thinking, who are you? Who is this person that I married? Because that is not the person that I dated. And you soon realize that the person you married is imperfect. Scott Peck said that romance is a temporary state of insanity so powerful that it overrules our sober judgment just long enough to get us to the marriage altar, right? There is some truth to that, or as the Bible says in Romans 3:23, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Now, typically in church, you talk about this verse in terms of your relationship with God and the effect that sin has had on your relationship with God. But your relationship with God isn't the only relationship affected by sin. Sin affects all of our relationships, including your relationship with your spouse. You know, I love when people who are dating say, we're just so compatible. No, you're not. or when a couple says, we're going to live together for a little while, to see whether or not we're compatible. Look, you don't need to live together to determine that. You're not compatible. No one is, right? You take two deeply flawed people who are sinful, selfish, and have even downsides to their personality and bad habits, and you put them together, they are not going to be compatible. Compatibility is a myth. You need to understand that marriage is two imperfect people coming together. But there is hope that these two imperfect people can have a happy and successful marriage if they diligently pursue intimacy. See, marriage is two imperfect people entering a committed relationship, diligently pursuing intimacy. And diligently is that key word there. I mean, have you ever thought about the goal of marriage, right? Like, if you are married, what is the goal, right? The goal of your marriage is intimacy. It's two people so united that they are living one life together. Intimacy is knowing and being fully known. Intimacy is when your spouse truly becomes your best friend. That is the goal. And I wonder if that is what you and your spouse are pursuing. If you aren't both pursuing that together, it's going to cause problems in your marriage because you aren't after the same goal. And so are you both pursuing intimacy? Maybe you are listening and you would say, we would, but, we both have really busy jobs. No, your job is not more important than your marriage. And if your job is standing in the way of pursuing intimacy, then something needs to change, right? Your job is not more important than your marriage. Some of you might say, we used to diligently pursue intimacy, but then we had kids, and so now we just don't have time for it because of the kids. No, your marriage is more important than your kids. The most important thing you can do in your life for your kids is have a great marriage. That gives your kids the security and an example for them to strive for in their life. The best thing you can do for your kids is to make your marriage, not them, your priority. Right? So marriage is two imperfect people entering into a committed relationship, diligently pursuing intimacy under the loving rule of God. And see, the last part, under the loving rule of God, is key. Healthy marriages grow under the loving rule of God. They grow when God is at the center of the marriage. Psalm 127:1 says, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. And so this verse is saying that if God's not in it, it's not going to work. And if God is not at the center of your marriage, it's not going to work, right? Building a healthy home, a healthy marriage is hard work. It takes honesty, humility, commitment, sacrifice, patience, grace, forgiveness, unconditional love, which means that marriage takes more than what you have to offer. It takes more than what you can do on your own, which is why you need God. How many of you have heard the statistic that 50% of all marriages in America end in divorce? Did you know that that's a myth? Those statistics were based on projections, not facts. And everyone started repeating those projections like they were facts, but it's actually not true. The divorce rate in America and the church is not at 50%. Or how about this one? How many of you have heard that the divorce rate in the church is the same as the national average, right? The divorce rate in the church is the same as those not inside the church. But did you know that is also a myth? The divorce rate of those who attend church is much lower than the national average. They found that regular church attendance lowers the divorce rate anywhere from 25 to 50% because healthy marriages grow under the loving rule of God. And what's even more amazing is that the divorce rate among Christians who pray and read their Bibles every day is 3%. I'm going to say that again because some of you didn't get that, right? The divorce rate among Christians who pray and read their Bible every day is 3%. See, when God is at the center of your life in your marriage, it will flourish. If you have a healthy relationship with God, it increases the chances of having a healthy relationship with your spouse. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, smash that like button, share this video with a friend. If you haven't already yet, subscribe to this channel and let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and remember, if it's not good, God's not done.